Hi there, Simone here with Bulletproof Business Growth, as always, with some ideas and insights, what to pay attention to when you're growing and scaling your business. So today I'm going to say some stuff that's going to be really different from what I usually say. And so just hang in there with me. I know I'm totally contradicting myself today, and there's a really good reason that I'm going this. So hang in there with me. I promise I have a point to this, and it's a really important one. So I'm going to start this by saying, look, we work with so many clients every month who have a really tough time getting the right people on the bus. And sometimes that means they're not hiring anybody, which means then their existing teams get totally overloaded. And when that goes on for a while, then morale drops, engagement drops, and they slowly start losing their really good A players. So if you're in that same boat where you really need to hire and you're not doing it, this episode is really important for you, because here's what I'm going to say. You don't need another A player. So what you really need is you need a system that gets B players to perform like A players even when you're not around. And this is the most important setup of that whole idea. So today I'm going to challenge one of the most stubborn myths in small business leadership, that your success depends on finding the right people. Because if your business rises and falls on somebody's attitude, ambition, or ability to take initiative, you're not running a business, you're running a personality cult. And look, what happens when those people leave or just kind of coast through the summer or just plain disappoint you? Everything grinds to a halt again. So this episode is for those of you who are overwhelmed, who are still in the trenches, who are still making every decision, who are still involved every fire, and still wondering, why can't anyone just take the reins who's not me? So let's talk about what's really broken and how to fix it. So let's be honest, most businesses are still held together by a handful of personalities, most importantly yours. And hopefully you've got like the one or two absolute rock stars who are your right-hand people. Of course, you rely on them, you protect them, and you are absolutely petrified by the idea that they could be leaving you. So, maybe you've been burned before. Maybe you had someone who you thought was amazing and they completely flaked on you, they disappeared, or they spiraled into underperformance the moment they just got overwhelmed, right? So stuff happened, it didn't go your way. But either way, you've built your business around people and not systems. So, people are just human, so there's stuff that's going to happen. So when they coast, and like more than 50% of employees admit to right now in the summer when it's beautiful outside and everybody's getting a little distracted, that means you are the one who's most likely filling the gaps. So this is especially true if you are leading emotionally instead of structurally. And this is the really important piece that I really want to address with you. So if your business only works when you're watching everyone like a hawk, or personally revving the team's engine and energy up every Monday, every Tuesday and Wednesday, look, that's not leadership, that's babysitting. And here's the litmus test for you. Would your business still function if everyone on your team was operating at 70% capacity? Like, think about this, is if everybody on your team was operating at 70% capacity, would your business still be doing well? Because the reality is they probably are. And not just during the summer, like I said, people are human, energy dips, motivation fades, people have lives, stuff happens. And of course, everybody loves to complain about Gen Z, well, them especially. More on them in a minute. We're going to talk about how to address that stuff. But look, if your business only runs when your people are absolutely at their best, you've got a fragility issue here and not necessarily a people issue. The businesses that scale are built differently. And that's what I really want you to hear in here, because if you want to grow and scale, you may have gotten where you are right now with the way you're doing it, but that doesn't mean it's going to keep working. And for a lot of you, that's what you're finding out. So the businesses that are able to scale, they are built to work with average players. They're built to produce consistent output no matter who's on the field. And that requires a shift from personality driven to process driven leadership. So let's tackle the second sacred cow here. One sentence that I hear over and over and over is there are no good employees anymore. And especially Gen Z gets a really bad rap, and they're criticized for being disengaged, non-committed, overly sensitive, and unwilling to go above and beyond. They're unwilling to stay beyond 5 or show up before 9 or whatever that is. But, you know, most of you have probably seen the infamous Gen Z stare, that kind of dead-eyed look of disengagement that has kind of gone viral. Everybody talks about it. So, but what's really going on here is there's so many studies about this too. It's like Gen Z isn't lazy. They're selectively invested. So they grew up in a world where burnout is normal and loyalty isn't necessarily rewarded. They've watched their parents do it. They've watched their parents be overworked and underpaid, and they're absolutely rejecting that model. And that's what's really going on. So they're not afraid to walk away from toxic work cultures. And they won't overextend for unclear expectations. And most notably, they're not chasing leadership roles anymore. I can't even tell you how many of our clients come to me and they're like, I can't get people to step up. Well, it's not because they can't, it's because they don't want to. And in fact, a growing number of Gen Z employees say they don't want to be leaders at all, not because they don't have the drive, but because they've seen how chaotic leadership looks in small businesses specifically. They don't want your stress, your hours, your lack of boundaries. So you might wonder, what is it that they actually want? And they want all the things that we always talk about. They want clarity. What's expected of them, when and why. They want autonomy, like, let me do my own work, let me do my own thing without you breathing down my neck. They want alignment. They want to be able to say, hey, show me why this matters and how this matters. And of course, the most important part, where I fit in. So, of course, what delivers all three of these is systems and structure and AI. And AI is one of your most useful, amazing tool when you use it as a tool that can give you all these things. Because you can't train Gen Z out of being Gen Z. And look, they're here to stay, right? This is your biggest workforce coming for a long time. So you can't change them, but you can change the environment and build an environment where they can absolutely thrive without your constant involvement. And that's really where the game starts to change. This is the moment where you stop looking for unicorns and you start building a stable. So, because too many owners are chasing that idea of the mythical perfect employee, someone with, of course, this is who we want, right? Someone with experience, with passion, with grit, with loyalty, with leadership potential, and zero drama. This is the person we all want. And all I'm going to say is good luck. And most likely you're going to end up in the position that I talked about in the beginning, where you're not hiring for far too long. Your business is suffering. Your existing team is absolutely suffering. And then you have your really good people, they're going to start leaving and they're going to start thinking this is not the place where they want to be. And you're going to get a bad reputation in the workforce. And this is all bad news. So instead, start asking this. So how can I design a system where average people can win without me being in it all the time. Because most of the time, when your average people are winning, it's because you are there 24/7, holding their hand, babysitting them, telling exactly what you need out of them, without them having the ability to generate this on their own. And this is the big game changer right there. So think of it like this. It's like McDonald's or what's the other company I'm thinking of? Chick-fil-A, right? They don't hire like culinary prodigies. They hire 16-year-olds and plug them into systems that are so dialed in that customers get consistent food worldwide, no matter where they are, no matter what the culture are. It's consistent. It's the same thing. So I know you're not McDonald's or Chick-fil-A, but what you do need is consistency, and consistency is one of the 5 C's in the game of scaling. So you absolutely need systems that make delegation foolproof, right? You get the clarity, the context, all the stuff that we always talk about. You need systems that automate repetitive tasks. Nobody should have to do the same thing over and over and over when it's something you can automate. And then you absolutely need to you have systems that surface issues before they become fires, because that's when you live your days in firefighting, when you don't have that. And this is also systems that drive accountability without your micromanagement. And that is absolutely what AI enables today. So it's not just automating what you do, it's about automating how your business thinks. So think about smart SOPs that guide decision making, and matrices that set up how decision making is made, AI tools that track performance in real time, templates and workflows that standardize excellence, like our culture, our systems, our structures, our standards. What are the standards? What does excellence really mean? And this is how, when you have that in place, that's how you remove you from the center of everything. So instead of solving every problem, you're designing a system that solves problems without you. And that's actually what true leadership is, because now also you're not just taking yourself out of the equation, you're also affording opportunity. Because when you take yourself out of the equation and you're not the one who's here solving everything, that means now you're giving opportunity to other people, to your team, to actually step up and do this and learn how to do this and build the confidence and build the motivation and build the confidence to keep doing this, the certainty around it. That's what you really need. So let's circle back to that stat that I had earlier, that over half of everybody's employees admit to sort of coasting during the summer months. That's when a lot of companies see performance go way down. And, some leaders suggest that this is totally normal and that actually business owners should sort of chill out and expect less for a few months. And to a point, I actually agree, because we're going back to your team is human. They need flexibility. They need recovery. They need to be given some space. I mean, you need space so that you can perform, right? So it's the same thing for them. But here's the thing. If motivation is required to keep your business moving, you're definitely in trouble. Your system has to carry the weight, not your team's willpower. And I get these are closely related, but you want one driving the other so that we actually have a cycle here. Because if that's not the case, motivation is absolutely inconsistent. It drops during the summer, it fades in Q4, around the holidays, it crashes when someone has a fight with their partner or loses sleep because their kid is awake all night. It's just life. That's just how it is. So your leadership system has to absorb that variability. It has to absorb that volatility. I guess that's a word. So here's what that looks like. think about systems, right? So you have an AI system that nudges and reminds your team of deadlines without you having to nag them. You have dashboards that surface, who's behind and who's crushing it. Like in our program, we teach our clients about meeting flows that establish accountability, that establish scoreboards that are public, that everybody knows who's where. So not only that it shows who's behind, but it also encourages people working together, because it could mean, hey, you're seeing your colleague be behind, you have a free moment, you go over, you go, you know what, I saw that you're a bit behind, is there anything I can help with, right? This is what we want to foster. And like workflows that are automatic, that is reassign tasks when bottlenecks appear, so that your team has full visibility into this whole thing, but there's something that's driving it beyond them. And, SOPs that anyone can follow. So you're not just relying on tribal knowledge, which is a problem if somebody just left, or there's always the, ask the business owner, just ask Sarah, just ask the person who runs the business, because if that's you, your life now is completely hijacked by constantly asking questions all day long, and you don't get anything else done. So that is really how you create momentum without extra motivation. And guess what? That's exactly what your Gen Z team wants. And part of that is less ambiguity and more autonomy in this whole thing. So honestly, when you're looking at that scenario, they're not the problem. Your lack of structure is. And that's what we really want to bring into this. So let's talk about what you really want here. Because deep down, you're not trying to become the world's best manager. You're not looking to empower your every hire. You just want a business that runs smoothly, profitably, and predictably without requiring you to be the constant heartbeat of it, right? Without you being in the driver's seat 24/7, because, hey, maybe what you actually do want to do is you might want to go travel and not worry while you're gone, is your team going to make the right calls, right? It's like some of you want to launch another business or invest in real estate or build something else that maybe creates a more passive way of having income. Maybe while you are gone, you want to make sure that your clients are being handled and treated right, that your deadlines are being met, and of course that your reputation is being protected, so you're not coming back to a big old mess. And you want to know that the wheels aren't falling off the bus, right? You're not getting behind. Everything is moving smoothly, which of course that means that is what gives you the freedom that most of our clients become entrepreneurs for. But here's the mic drop moment here, and this is what I really want everybody to hear. Freedom only comes through infrastructure, right? Structure sets you free. So freedom only comes through infrastructure, and you have to be the one who's setting that up, but you can have that be powered by AI. And when you have the right structure and the right program to help you do that, it can be something that can be done in like minutes and hours instead of days and weeks and months, right? So because you want a structure here where AI replaces your need to remind people of what to do consistently. You want AI that ensures standards are upheld automatically. You want AI that supports decision making when you're not available. So this is not about replacing your team. It's about removing the friction between them and creating the results that your business needs so much. Because once the friction is gone, well, you're gone, right? Not because you abandoned ship, but because you finally built a business and not a job. So this is kind of what everybody wants. So here's what it comes down to all in the end. If your business only works when you do, if you're still involved in 100 tiny decisions every day, all day long, if your team still needs permission to move forward, they ask you for every decision, then it's not about them. It's about the system that you haven't built yet. And the future of leadership isn't about personality, about charisma, about hustle, about heroics. It's about clarity and structure, automation, and AI. And AI helps you create all that, maintain all that, and up level all of that. So, but the really good news, and this is what I mean when I said you have to choose the right program, because I mean, of course you could choose to build all that from scratch, but you don't have to. So if you're ready to stop surviving and really start scaling this, if you're done micromanaging and chasing unicorns and hoping for this magic bullet to appear, that means now you're actually ready to lead like a real CEO and not a firefighter. Then we have built this already for you. So I will not stop promoting this because I am incredibly excited about this little program that we've built. It's incredibly affordable. It solves problems that you didn't even think you needed to solve, but once you solve them, you'll know why. So go over to aibusinessscalingblueprint.com and grab your copy of that. You will never think about business the same way again. So go to aibusinessscalingblueprint.com. And this plug and play system really gives you everything you need. It gives you a way to automate delegation, delegate with confidence, eliminate busy work, and really do what you want to do, which is build a business that runs without you. Yes, we all want the unicorn A+ players that are the perfect people, but those are hard to come by. So let's just say you don't really need better people, you need better systems. So go to aibusinessscalingblueprint.com and we'll see you on the inside. I hope you have a great week. I hope this helped a lot, and I will see you next